injustice, because people like him are global citizens. Wherever he goes, he talks of multiculturalism. I have the honor of working with him professionally also, because both of us come from Department of Health. But I didn't know much about when he was there as a professional officer, maybe that he was not doing a good job professionally. But when I met him in ACT circles, right, he really impressed me. So please welcome Sam Wong to say a few words. And I hope you are
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I really, I wouldn't say thank Mohammed give me the opportunity to speak, because only give me a few minutes to say a few words, but it's not a few words. Judging what Kanti is saying, that he virtually made a very good speech, and congratulations for such a pompous, and all the speakers previously, for Helen and also Veronica, and also for the Minister. Thank you for the opportunity for them to voice their view about support of refugees for this country. Also, before I commence, I'd also like to acknowledge we are in the land of Ngunnawal people, pay respect to the elders, past and present, and recognise for the continual contribution for the land of Canberra and this region, and also acknowledge any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders been here today. I'd like to make them a special welcome. Tonight, when Mohammed asked me to speak, I had to think very hard on what sort of a platform I should speak, because I wear a number of hats. Now, I think probably the best way I could present to you tonight, among other things, I've been the chair of the ACD division of the Australian Red Cross for a number of years, since 2012. Maybe I share some of the Australian Red Cross point of view about asylum seekers and refugees to you, about what we're doing from the Australian Red Cross point of view, or internationally, the International Red Cross movement. For those unfamiliar with the Red Cross in the world, we founded around about 150 years ago because of the war, and also we created or agreed among all the nations the Geneva Conventions. We have the international humanitarian law, mostly protections of conflicts of prisoners and civilians. And then we have the other very important part of the work internationally is saving or helping vulnerable people who need help. And we ask no question where they come from, their religions and creed and so on. We have a few principles very important to observe. One of them is neutrality. We're neutral. We don't on any political sides or otherwise. The other one is impartiality. We are not judge you or any other way. Everybody's the same. And the last one is more important, to serve humanity. To serve humanity. And therefore, with all these three principles in mind, a brief history about refugees. We've been looking after displaced people. We used to call displaced people for World War II for many, many decades. People from Eastern Europe, from Central or Southern Europe come to Australia, and also there are millions of unfortunate due to war in the Middle East and in Asia, and also recent time in Eastern Europe. We have camps and look after them. Therefore, we do have some experience about refugees and also displaced people and asylum seekers in general. And more importantly, we have a few things probably no other international organization will do, and we stick by the rule. We never make political statement or critical to governments. We always very quiet. We always very cooperative. And also we are very persuasive. And this is why you never hear the Red Cross complain about a lot of things. But in recent time we complained twice. And I share this with you. The first time we complained is the mistreatment for the Iraqi prisoner in Abu Dhabi. We speak up to the American authority. And the second part is we complain, and also we like to take them to the world authority. It's about the mistreatment for Palestinian hospital and invaded by the Israeli tank. Now this is on record. I'm not creating all these things. But this is the only two occasions in my lifetime I come across that. And this is very, to me, is significant. But as usual, we never complain. We never complain, especially like working people. Now let me provide a little bit more information about what actually the Australian Red Cross here to support the asylum seeker. In 2013, through our former chief executive, the Honourable Robert Tigner. Robert used to be in the Hawke Keating government. He used to be the Minister of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders Affairs, and he served the Australian Red Cross as the chief executive for over 13 years. He initiated this special report. It's called the Vulnerability Report. That's what we serve vulnerable people. And the report is entitled Inside the Process of Seeking Asylum in Australia. Now this is not a political report. This is really to provide an observations about how these people being treated or their reaction, their response while they are under detention. And I'd like to share their finding with you tonight, if I may. Just hang on a second, I have to use my smartphone now. Now, it's not very long. It's only one page, therefore you don't have to worry about I will be on here for hours and hours. I'll give you let me read it to you, if I may. And I have to, my glass is not that good. The findings. The evidence long period of immigration's detention has profound and deliberating effect in the well-established in Australia and internationally. Okay? Prolonged detention is a negative experience preventing people from developing skills, habits, knowledge of cultural norms to participate within Australia's society. Detentions exacerbate the effect of other traumas. And that's the brief executive summary. They have 7 key findings. Let me read it to you one at a time. And it's not too long, therefore I hope I'm not upsetting your appetite in your main course, okay? The first one, people seeking asylum exist in a painful, protracted state of uncertainty. Long delay in processing and limited opportunity for meaningful participation in the Australian community create and exacerbate mental distress. That's number one finding. Second one, people seeking asylum encounter vagaries in the legal system. Vagary, what's vagary? I mean, legal term is something along inconsistency, stupidity, or something along those lines. That's vagaries. That's a kind way to describe that. Legal support can be difficult to obtain, and the process is experienced as confusing, inconsistent, and demeaning. That's the number 2 finding. Number 3 finding. People seeking asylum live in a distressing state of isolations. Shame, stigma, suspicion, and fear keep people seeking asylum in a state of isolation from their cultural community in Australia. Number 4, people seeking asylum live in a precarious existence. People seeking asylum in Australia community in a state of poverty. Number 5, the institutions can be outcome for some people seeking asylum. The withdrawal of support payment and services before the legal entitlement to appeal is exhausted produce acute and distinctive vulnerability. I think this is outlined there before. And the last finding, won't take too long, the human spirit is resilient. Many people seeking asylum are sustained by their own courage and personal strength, and they're buoyed by the resilience, hope, and kindness of strangers that many of you are. And therefore, these 6 findings, you could actually, please look it up from our Australian Red Cross site, and this has been circulated to all politicians, all candidate politicians, and all the other places. And I really value and your support to have a look at that. Now, this is not a political statement because we have been observed or first-hand knowledge about this asylum seeker while they are in detention, and they really need support. And your kindness is that. To finish it off, I'd like to special mention is Mohammed and his team working for TGA and other community work has been a great help to the Australian Red Cross for many years. And I'd just like to take this opportunity on behalf of Australian Red Cross, I'd like to thank you and your team for the kind support. And also, I think in many occasions, the Canberra Islamic Centre and another Islamic group have been in groups donating blood to our blood service. And I really thank you because this is valued and the most important part of the most important tissue, if I call that blood tissue, to save lives in Australia. And therefore, I also take this opportunity to your support, Mohammed and your friends of the Islamic community in Canberra, for the utmost support for humanity. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for, I apologize I'll speak too long, but on the Red Cross, I really thank you for your support and look forward to talking to you in the future. Thank you very much indeed.
So kind of you, Sam, and even though you spoke a bit longer than I wanted, but I'll forgive you. But I'll forgive you for this because we are friends for so many years, right? You know. And but you talked sense and you talked substance. That is where it matters. I mean, it's my pleasure to acknowledge that from ACT Red Cross, Wenda, who is ACT Director of Red Cross, is always there on RASH committee, and off and on at my workplace we have been doing fundraising things, and she has been very kind to come in person there and just brief us with the activities of the organization itself. But I'm not neglecting here and give me that liberty to acknowledge the hard work of my own team in Forum Australia, Dr. Mansoor Sayed, Manar Ahmed and Helen Wilson, who have been always consistently and constantly thinking of improving things, that how we can deliver the expectations which are from us as far as Forum Australia is concerned. And there is another person I'll name later who is also here. He was one of the founders of this Forum Australia, but he's certainly doing some other things. But the name will come later then. It's my pleasure now to ask for very brief few